Picture this. Someone is explaining something really important to you. Everyone around you is nodding. They get it. But you're completely lost. You want to ask a question, but you think, what if I sound stupid? So you stay quiet, you pretend you understand. And then you lose 3 days. 3 days fixing mistakes you could have avoided. And by the end of this episode, you'll have 3 simple ways to ask clarifying questions in English, so you never waste time feeling confused again. Welcome back. Claire here. This is English Without Apology, where we help you speak English with confidence in real situations.
I'm Jake, and I have something to confess today. In our last episode, I learned how to introduce myself without freezing. So I actually did it. I started a conversation with someone at work. And then they started explaining something. For like an hour, maybe more.
Uh-oh. How much did you understand?
Honestly, maybe 30%?
Wait, only 30%?
Yeah, and I said nothing. I just nodded and took notes, like a bobblehead.
A bobblehead. That is a new one.
Then I spent 3 hours afterwards asking other people to explain everything.
Jake, this happens to everyone, especially in English, you know?
Really? So I'm not the only one too scared to ask questions?
Not at all. Most people think asking questions makes them look stupid. Here's the key. Asking clarifying questions shows you care about getting it right. It's smart, not stupid.
So how do I ask without sounding incompetent?
I'm going to teach you 3 simple ways. Ready?
Yes, I really need this.
So, first phrase, just to clarify, do you mean something like that?
That's it? Just ask if I understood correctly.
Yes, instead of saying I don't understand, which feels weak and puts everything on you, you're confirming what you heard. For example, just to clarify, do you mean we need to finish this by Friday?
Just to clarify, do you mean we need to finish this by Friday?
Perfect.
Oh. So I'm showing I was listening, right? I just want to make sure I got it right.
Exactly. That's exactly it. This phrase makes you sound careful and thoughtful, not confused or stupid.
Can I use it in messages too?
Absolutely. Just to clarify, do you mean you need this by Monday morning? Works perfectly in writing too, you know.
This feels way less scary than saying I don't understand. It's like diplomatic confusion.
Diplomatic confusion. I love that.
What's the second way?
Second way, coming right up. Second phrase, could you explain that last part a bit more?
Wait, so I'm asking about one specific thing? Not asking them to repeat everything?
Exactly. That's what makes this powerful. You're not saying I'm lost. You're saying I need more detail on this one part. Big difference. For example, could you explain how that works a bit more?
Could you explain how that works a bit more?
You got it.
So I'm not making them repeat the whole thing. Just the part I need.
Exactly. Most people appreciate specific questions because they know exactly how to help you.
But what if I didn't understand most of it?
Break it into parts. First, could you explain the first step a bit more? Then, could you also explain the last part?
So I'm asking step by step, not dumping all my confusion at once, like strategic questioning.
Strategic questioning. Yes, that's smart. Questioning.
Okay, what's the third one?
Third phrase. What do you mean by that term?
So this is for when I don't understand a word or phrase.
Exactly. Instead of pretending you know, or worse, just staying silent, you ask directly. Use this when someone uses jargon, technical terms, or unclear language, you know?
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Someone says, we need to leverage our resources to optimize the outcome.
I have no idea what that means. Sounds like they swallowed a business dictionary?
Right? So instead of nodding and pretending, you say, what do you mean by leverage our resources?
What do you mean by leverage our resources?
Exactly. You're asking them to use simpler language without saying that made no sense.
Oh, so I'm being polite but direct, right?
Yes, and most people will appreciate it. Never pretend to know something, always ask. And here's what I know: silence creates confusion. Questions create clarity.
Silence creates confusion. Questions create clarity. That's exactly what happened to me. 3 days of confusion because I stayed silent.
Let me tell you what happened to me 3 months ago.
What happened?
I was talking to a mentor about a project, right? And she kept using terms like synergy and paradigm shifts. And honestly, I had no idea, like zero idea what they meant. But I was too embarrassed to ask. I thought I should know these terms, you know? I felt so stupid sitting there nodding. But the real mistake wasn't not knowing the words, it was staying silent. So I nodded, said yes, absolutely, and left completely confused.
So what did you do?
I spent 2 whole days, 16 hours, working on the wrong thing. When I showed them what I did, they said, "This isn't what I asked for."
Oh no.
Yeah, I had to redo everything. My silence created the confusion. One question would have created clarity. Now I always ask, what do you mean by that? Because asking questions means I care about getting it right.
You know what? This actually happened yesterday. Someone was explaining a new process at work.
Did you?
Not fully, but this time I didn't stay quiet. I used phrase 1. Just to clarify, do you mean we do this step before or after the other one?
Yes.
And they said, great question, after. Thanks for clarifying.
Spot on. Smart question, clear answer.
But here's the best part. 2 other people said, yeah, I was wondering that too.
See? You weren't the only one confused. You just had the courage to ask.
Yeah, and I saved myself and everyone else from confusion. Way better than my bobblehead mode.
From bobblehead to question master, character development. Okay, Jake, imagine I'm your team lead explaining a project. I'm going to use unclear language. You practice asking clarifying questions. Ready?
Ready?
Jake, the team needs to align on the deliverables and sync up before EOD.
Just to clarify, do you mean we need to agree on what to deliver by end of today?
Yes, exactly. By 5 o'clock.
Got it. And what do you mean by sync up? Is that a meeting?
Good question. Yes, a short 15-minute check-in with the team.
Perfect. Could you explain what the main deliverable is a bit more?
The final report for the client. You used all three phrases.
Yeah, what the deadline meant, what the unclear term meant, and more detail on the goal.
Exactly. And you sounded professional the whole time.
And now I know exactly what to do.
That's the power of clarifying questions. Jake, how do you feel about asking questions now?
Honestly, empowered. Like, genuinely empowered. I'm not scared anymore. I know what to say, you know?
Good. Let's review. What's the first way?
First way, just to clarify, do you mean something like that? You confirm what you heard?
Perfect. Second way,
Could you explain that last part a bit more? Ask about one specific thing.
excellent. And the third,
What do you mean by that term? Ask them to clarify unclear words.
what's the most important thing to remember?
So the real difference is silence creates confusion. Questions create clarity.
You went from bobblehead mode to question master.
Haha, no more bobblehead mode. Here's your challenge. In the next 24 hours, ask one clarifying question.
In a conversation, in a message, anywhere, just pick one phrase and use it. Don't stay silent next time. You have the words, use them. Drop a comment below which phrase you used and what happened. We want to hear your story.
We read every single comment.
Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Next time, how to keep conversations flowing naturally. It's going to be really useful for you.
Thank you so much for listening today. We really appreciate you being here.
Have an amazing day.
See you next time.
Bye.